As part of this video, we will cover these topics, which is how to handle single static dropdown, multi-static dropdown, and dynamic dropdown. So any dropdown which contains the select tag is called as the static dropdown. And why is that so? So for example, if I expand it, you can see it has multiple options and all of them are static, which means the values will not change. So any dropdown which does not have a static tag is called as a dynamic dropdown. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how to write the static dropdown. Hello everyone, welcome to Lambda Test. I'm your instructor Vignesh. This is another video from the playlist Playwright with TypeScript. As part of this video, we will learn in depth about how to handle dropdowns by using Playwright. As part of this video, we will cover these topics, which is how to handle single static dropdown, multi-static dropdown, and dynamic dropdown. So first let us understand what is dropdown, and then we will see what are the different types of dropdown and how to handle them by using Playwright. Dropdown means a single locator will hold multiple values. So for instance, here you can see it has select option, please select. If I expand it, you can see it shows us multiple options. We can select only one among them. That is called as a dropdown. So there are four types of dropdown available in web: static dropdown and dynamic dropdown. And each of the dropdown will be splitted into static will be splitted into single static dropdown and multi-static dropdown, and similarly the dynamic dropdown will be splitted into single dynamic searchable dropdown and multi-dynamic dropdown. So let us see what each differs is. So here why we are calling this as static dropdown is because if I expand this and let me inspect this, see here how to easily identify a static dropdown. Identifying it from the DOM is pretty simple. So if I inspect this dropdown and if I zoom in, you can see it has the select tag. So any dropdown which contains the select tag is called as the static dropdown. And why is that so? So for example, if I expand it, you can see it has multiple options and all of them are static, which means the values will not change, the content will never change, and the order also preserves same. So that's why it's called as the static dropdown, and always the static dropdown will have the select tag. This is called as a single static dropdown because at a given time I can select only one values. Whereas if I inspect the second one, so let's say if I'm inspecting the second one, again here you can see it has the select tag, which means this is also a static dropdown, but this is called as a multiple static dropdown. The reason is because it will allow us to select multiple values. Here you can see I'm pressing Ctrl in my keyboard and I can able to select multiple values. So this is the static dropdown. If I go to the another demo website, this is called as a dynamic dropdown. The reason is again here you can see this is a dropdown, but if I inspect this dropdown, it will not have the static as the tag. So any dropdown which does not have a static tag is called as a dynamic dropdown. So here you can see here it has a span tag, which means this is not a static dropdown, which means it's a dynamic dropdown. And this is called as a dynamic search dropdown because here you can see in the dropdown we have a search bar, and whatever we search for, the results will keep on changing based on that. So if I search for India, it comes with India. If I search for Denmark, you can see the result shrinks to Denmark. So this is called as a searchable dynamic dropdown. And the last is non-searchable dynamic dropdown. So for instance, let's say if I'm clicking on this, you can see it does not have any search bar, but this is also a dynamic dropdown. The reason is if I inspect it, you can see again this does not have any select tag or something. So that's why this is called as the non-searchable dynamic dropdown. So now we understood what are the different types of dropdowns we have. Let us see how to work with them by using Playwright. So handling handling the static dropdown is super simple compared to handling a dynamic dropdown. But let us see how to do that. So I have already created a project called as dropdown handling, and in this project I have already installed Playwright and also have given the integration with Lambda test. If you don't know how to do that, please watch the previous video where I have clearly explained how to install Playwright and how to do the Lambda test integration. So here I have four tests: single static dropdown, multi-static dropdown, and searchable dynamic dropdown and non-searchable dynamic dropdown. Here I have written the code just to navigate to the website and to close the consent pop-up. So that's the code which I have written here. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how to write the static dropdown. So handling the static dropdown is super simple. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to inspect this dropdown. Here we can see it has an ID called select demo. So let me copy this ID. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say await page dot locator. So I know that yeah, not page dot locator. So I know that this is a static dropdown. So I can directly call the method which is called select option. So the select option method will be taking up two arguments. One is the selector and one is the what is the value which we need to select upon them. Now I'm going to pass the first locator which is the hash select demo, and next we are going to pass the what is the value which we can select. Now if I inspect this Monday Tuesday again, here you can see 100% all the static dropdown will have three parameters. One is called as value, another is called as the text, and third one is the index. So we can select them based on one of these three. So you can either select by value, or you can select by the text, or you can select by the index. In this demo website, both the values as well as the text are having the same text here, but that will not be the case in real time. In real time, maybe the value can have a different text, or the text can have a different one. So it can be based on your choice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to handle with all the three types. So here first what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that I'm going to select by value. So I'm going to put the option symbol and I'm going to say that I'm going to select by value. For first, I'm going to select with a value, let's say Monday. So Monday is the value here, and I'm going to select with Monday. So this is the first line. Let me put it correctly. Yeah, this is the first line. Let me duplicate this two more times. The reason is because let me duplicate this two more times. Let me copy this and paste it two more times. The reason is because the locator is going to be the same. The only difference is how we are going to call them. The next one I'm going to call by label. Why we are calling by label? Because this is a second type where we can call by using the text. So here let's say I'm going to call by, for instance, Tuesday, something like this. And for the last one we are going to call by index. So how to call by index? So here I'm going to remove this option. I'm going to type for index, and here index always starts from 0, which we already been aware of. So here if I'm going back, so it starts from here. So 0 1 2 3 4. So if I want to select Wednesday, I have to select 4. So index 4, and always indexing is a number. So in this case what will happen is it will select Monday first, then it will select Tuesday, and then it will select the index 4, which is the Wednesday. So now let us see, we can add assertions to all these four things. So in our previous video we have already seen in detail how to handle the different assertion. So if you didn't watch it, please take your time to watch the assertion. So here I'm adding the first assertion, which is expect page.locator. The first is to have the value as Monday. So I'm copying this line, I'm going to paste here. So this should have the value to be Tuesday, because here I'm checking directly the value after selecting. And for the last one, I know it should have the value to be Wednesday. So I'm copying this and I'm putting it as a assertion here. So it should have the value to be Wednesday. So let me go back to the browser and copy the value. So I have shown how to select the single static dropdown with three different types. One is by using the value, one is by using the label, and one is by using the index. We'll execute the test at one shot at the end. Now let us proceed to the multi-static dropdown. Again, from Playwright perspective, handling the single static dropdown or handling the multi-static dropdown has no difference. We are going to use the same method, which is await page dot select option, and we are going to follow the same structure. So let me inspect the multi-static dropdown. So for example, if I'm inspecting this multi-static dropdown, we have to go to the parent which has the select tag. It has the ID to be multi-select. So this is the ID which is gonna be we use. So hash and multi-select. Now the difference between selecting a single versus a multiple value is, in single we can directly pass comma and we will pass the curly brackets and we'll pass the values. When we are trying to do with multiple things, we have to pass the array. That's the only difference. So within the array we can pass the different value. For example, let's say I'm going to pass three values. So I'm going to put three options. So first option, second option, and third option. Again, here we can go by value, we can go by index, we can go by text. It's up to us. For easiness, I'm going to go with all the three different one. So let's say I want to select value to be California. So I'm going here and I'm going to pass the value to be California. And next I'm going to pass the value to be, let's say, New Jersey. So the value to be New Jersey. And for the last one, I'm going to say the value to be, we'll go with maybe New York, for instance. So New York. That's it. Now we have, in this case, it's going to select all these three. So now let us add assertion to this. So here, what is the tricky thing here is that when you are handling the multi-static drop-down, you always need to preserve the order of selection. What it means by that? So in this case, the assertion which I have written is await expect page dot locator hash multi-select to have values. Why? Because previously it is just to have value because we are selecting only one value, but here as it's a multi-static drop down, we are going to use the to have values, and within that we have to pass the array and all the different options in the single quotes. So now I'm going to make sure that the same order is being called. What it means by that, first California will be selected when the test runs. So first the California will be selected, followed by the New Jersey, and followed by the New York. So that's the same order we also need to assert with. If we change the order, the test will fail. So I'm also going to preserve the same order. So the first one will be selected as California. The second one will be selected is New Jersey. And let me remove this. And the last one will be selected as New York. That's it. So this is how we handle the multi-static dropdown. So we have seen how to handle a single static dropdown and how to handle the multi-static dropdown. Next, we are going to see how to handle the searchable dynamic dropdown. The disadvantage of handling this dynamic dropdown is there is no direct method as we have for static dropdown called as select option. So in this case, we have to manually do that step. So what are the manual steps? So if I go to the demo website, so this is the demo website. Let me go to the demo website. Yeah, this one. So what are the manual steps? So if I want to select something in the searchable dynamic dropdown, first I have to click on this dropdown for the dropdown to be expanded. That is step number one. And step number two is I have to enter something here in this option. For example, let's say I'm entering as India, and the last option is I have to click on this. And last fourth step is to do the assertion. So let us see how to do all those four steps. So let me refresh the screen. And the first step is that, as I told you, we have to first click on this locator and we have to expand the drop down. So let us inspect this drop down. So let me inspect this drop down. So here you can see it has a role combo box. It has a area labeled by, let us see if there is any useful one by using the selector sub. Nothing good. Let me go to the XPath. Let me see if it has any XPath. Yeah, we have one XPath here. So let me copy this and I'm going to put it with Control F and check if this, yeah, it's coming. So let me copy this locator, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write as await page dot locator, and this is the locator which we are going to pass for. We'll change the single quotes into double quotes because, as I mentioned already, within a single quotes you can't have one more single quotes. So within single quotes, double quotes, and we have to click on this. Why we have to click on this? In order to expand the drop down. Once we expanded the drop down, we have to search something in the search bar. So let me inspect the search bar. So let me go to the search bar. Yeah. So let me expand it and let me search for the search bar. So if I search with the search bar, let me see if there is any locator. Let me go back to the selector sub and search one more time. And it has a CSS selector. Let me see if the CSS selector is good. No, let me see if there are any good other options. I guess this is the only thing which we can use. Let me go back to the text path and see. Yeah, we can use this, which is a XPath with input classes. So I'm copying this and I'm going to the Visual Studio Code, and within this locator, what I'm going to do, I'm going to search. So what I can search for, basically I can search for the country which I want to choose. In this case, as I mentioned, we are going to search for India. So we have to type dot fill, and within this we are going to search for India. And what is the next step is, we have to search the same here, which is India, and we are going to click on this. So let us inspect this search result, which is India, and here you can see uh, it has a UL. So how to click on a dynamic drop down is, it is not advisable directly to click on the LA result. Rather than that, we have to go from the parent to the child. So in this case, you can see the parent has ID select country results, which is from the UL tag. From there, you can go to the first LA. So what you can do, you can just copy this, which is the UL tag. So I'm going to type UL hash and I'm going to paste this. You can see it is giving me the UL result, and put a greater than symbol and LI, which means go to the immediate LI. In this case, you can see it is highlighting the India or whatever the search result is. So let me copy this and I'm going to say await page dot locator, and I'm going to paste this and I'm going to say we have to click on it. That's it. Now the last thing is, we have to write the assertion. So let me get the assertion. So this is the assertion, which is await expect page dot locator. We are checking whether the ID which is select to country container has a text India. Why we are doing this way? Because for example, if I selected this, now we can see the India is selected, and now if I'm searching with the locator, you can see it is highlighting this drop down, and it contains the text India, which means the same drop down which we selected. So this is how we do the searchable dynamic drop down. And the last one is non-searchable dynamic drop down. Why this is non-searchable? Because if I expand it, you can see it does not have any searchable bar or something. So what is the agenda here? We have to click on this button to expand the drop down, and we have to search and click on it automatically, which means we don't have any search bar, so we have to directly click on the value. So let us see how to do that. So let me inspect this and see if it has anything CSS here. So let me paste the CSS and see if it is unique. Yeah, this is unique. So I'm gonna take this. So what I'm gonna do here, so this is non-searchable dynamic drop down. So here I'm just gonna say await page dot locator, and I'm gonna pass this locator. So let me remove one more. Yeah, and now we have to click on it. Why we have to click on it? In order to expand the drop down. Once we expanded the drop down, in the previous case we had the search bar, so we did search and then we have clicked on it. But in our case, we can't able to search them, but there is a way which we can do directly in the Playwright. Let me show you how to do that. So if I expand this, you can see, let me inspect one of the values. Let's say I'm inspecting Arizona, for instance. So now you can see all the values here, which is all of them has the same tag li, and all of them has the same class name. Select two results option, select two results option, highlighter, ID, like that. So what it ideally means is, all of them will have the same parent, which means in this case all of them has the same parent, which is ul, and here it has an ID which is select C24 add for results. It's not good to take an ID whenever it contains any number. It's me who told that always take the ID, which is the number one priority, but also be make sure that don't take the ID which has numbers like this, like you can see C22 8D41 like this. Whenever it has a number, and when next time when you refresh the screen, the number will change. So don't take the ID here. So here you can see it has a class called select results options. So I'm going to take this, which is with ul tag. What I'm going to do, I'm going to search with ul dot, and I'm going to search with this. You can see it is giving one of one results. From there I have to go to the li tag, and also when I'm selecting the li tag, I have to select based on the text which I want. So let me see how to write the locator for this. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say await page.locator, and I'm going to pass this as the first locator. Now on top of which I'm going to do a chaining of locator. What it means by that, after it finds this UL locator, I'm going to do a chaining with one more locator, and here I'm going to find the li. If I just give like this as li, it will find all the LIs, but I don't want that. I want to find an LI which is specifically pointing to the drop down I wanted. For example, in this case, I want to do with Arizona. So if I go here, you can see it has the text as Arizona. So this is the LI which I need. So what I'm going to do when I'm selecting this, I'm going to pass an option. So comma, I'm going to say it needs to have a text. So has text, and what is the text we are expecting? We are expecting it to have Arizona. So let me copy Arizona one more time and paste it. Yeah. So what we written here, so we have said it to first go to the locator, which is the parent locator. From there we are doing a chaining of locators, which means find the li. Don't find all the li's, find only the li which has the text Arizona. Once you found that guy, click on it. That's it. So this is how we will search for the non-searchable dynamic dropdown. Now let us see how to write the assertion for this. So it's very simple to write an assertion here. So what I have did here is await expect page.locator. So let me first select this Arizona. So after I finish selecting the Arizona, you can see the Arizona value is selected here. Now if I inspect this, you can see it has an UL tag, and within that it has an LI tag. But here the Arizona value is not being mentioned as a text. Instead, it's been mentioned as a title. So what I have did is, if I go back to the play, yeah. So here I'm going to the parent locator which has the class called select to selection choice, and I'm checking to have attribute, and I'm checking the attribute which is title, which is Arizona. If you are not aware of what is this assertion or what are the different types of assertions are available, please refer the previous video where I have clearly mentioned what are the different types of assertions which we can do. So this is how we can automate the different types of drop downs available in Playwright. Now let us run this test against the Lambda test cloud and see if everything is passing. So as I mentioned in the previous video, I don't need to change anything from the test level. Instead, if I go to .n, so here you can see as per the configuration we have as Lambda test. That's it. So I can easily run the test. So I'm just going to run npm run win11 Chrome, which means all this test will be running against Windows 11 with Chrome browser. So once the test starts, we can go and view in the Lambda test dashboard and let us see if everything is working. So now we have handled the different types of drop downs. Also, we have added all assertions for all of them. So technically all of them should pass. So let us wait until the test starts. Once the test starts, we will go to the Lambda test dashboard. From there, we can see whether it's getting passed or failed. So it should get started in a second. So the test is getting started, where you can see npx playwright test project Chrome latest Windows 11 Lambda test. So it's gonna hit the Lambda test server now. So first we should see a command which is running 4 tests, because we have 4 tests now with different handling of drop downs. So once it starts the test, we can go to the Lambda test website. So let me go to the website. Yeah, this is the dashboard. So let us see if it started with the automation. So I guess it should have started ideally, but let's see. It didn't start it. Let me go and check the VS Code. It is a bit slow. Maybe my mission is a bit slow today, but in your case, if you have a latest mission, it should have been already started. So let us wait until the automation starts. So here we can see it is running 4 tests by using 4 workers. So if I go to the Lambda test dashboard now, in a second it should start and reflect here, which is all the 4 different tests should have 4 different builds, because each of them are different tests, but all of them are pointing to the same Chrome browser and same Windows 11 machine. So yeah, you can see it starts to reflect here, which is Chrome single static dropdown handling, and this is coming from the file dropdown handling. Similarly, Chrome non-searchable dynamic dropdown, Chrome searchable dynamic dropdown, and Chrome multi-static dropdown handling. all these are coming because if you guys remember, I guess in the second video in the playlist, I have mentioned in this lambda test setup.ts. If I scroll down under the capability section, I have added a new capability to capture the name of the test. So if I scroll to the capability sections, you can see we are getting this name because we are asking it to define it with browser name hyphen hyphen with the test name. That is the reason we are seeing in this fashion. So here you can see it is running all the 4 tests. Ideally all the 4 tests should get passed because we have handled the drop down, plus also we have handled the assertions properly. So ideally all the 4 tests should pass. So let us wait until the execution completes. Once the execution completes, we can see if all the tests are passed or not. So you can see the tests are getting passed now. So the first test, which is single static dropdown, got a green tick mark. So the rest of the tests are running. So maybe in a minute all the tests will be getting completed. So let us wait until the tests are passing. So let me open the single static dropdown to show the video so that I can show you that it selected each value one by one and also it did an assertion. So let me open the video. That's the very good thing with lambda tests. All the executions will have the screenshots and video attached directly in the dashboard. We don't need to do anything to get the video or screenshot. So let me play the video and let me put it into maximize screen. So here you can see, let me pause it exactly. So first, let me go back. It executed very fast. Let me go back here and let me try to pause it in middle. So first you can see it does not have any selected value. So first it should select Monday and then it should select Tuesday and Wednesday, I guess. So you can see it selected Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It ran very fast. I couldn't able to pause it. So which means it has selected all the 3 options which we are asking it for to. So this is with the first test, which is single static drop down. Similarly, you can see all the 4 tests are passed, which is single static drop down, multi-static drop down, non-searchable dynamic drop down, and searchable dynamic drop down. So let me go into all of them quickly. So in the multi-static drop down, if I go and expand it, so let me wait until the video buffers fully and let me play the video. In this case too, it should select all the 3 values, which is California. Yeah, it handled the consent pop-up, and here you can see, let me zoom in, it selected California, New Jersey and New York as we expected, so which is great. And let me go back and select the dynamic drop down first. So this is searchable dynamic drop down and this is non-searchable dynamic drop down. So let me go to both of them. So in the searchable dynamic dropdown, it should search for India first and then it should click on India. Whereas in the non-searchable dynamic dropdown, it should directly select the Arizona. So let us wait until the video loads. And let me play the video. Here you can see that first it needs to click on the dropdown to expand it. And once it expanded that, it should search for India. So yeah, you can see it expanded the drop down, it entered the India value and then it selected the country India. So this is the searchable dynamic drop down, and let me go to the non-searchable dynamic drop down. And this is the non-searchable dynamic drop down. If I expand it, here in this case it will not have any search bar or something, it will directly select the Arizona place. So here you can see it selected the Arizona as we expected. So we have seen in detail how to handle different types of drop-down in Playwright. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was very insightful. So please watch the remaining videos out of this playlist to get a complete knowledge on how to automate Playwright by using TypeScript. Thank you.